Let's do some UVs together. Well, hello there, here we are again, and we're starting off with you being, as in making UVs. I know this is everyone's favorite part of any 3D production. UVs are wonderful, and well, my kind of goal, this is not exactly a tutorial, you know, that I would like you to see that they can be made simple. We are gonna first start off, as you can see, by singling out pieces. We started with the Dagger, and the easiest option to doing good UVs, and as you're gonna be able to see later in the video, is to delete anything that's symmetrical. You know, I have been using symmetry quite a lot in this series. As you saw with the blade, it was a very simple cut, just one straight down the middle, and that was it. Then we moved on with the guard, the cross guard, the spike guard, if you will. And at first I was just making those point extrusions a little bit more well, meaningful, to look bigger, because I realized they were too small. Now there I camera-based projected the UV and made a few UV cuts that I knew where I needed them to be, mostly, and this is gonna be my kind of philosophy for making UVs. Is where you are likely to make material transitions. So I was very much guided by all the intrusions and extrusions, since those were also gonna affect the UV projection noise. I needed them to be there. I needed the cuts to be there. And as you can see, I'm just separating them, straightening them, as in orientating them in horizontal and vertical in the axis, according to to roughly how the shape itself is present in the model. So the intrusions, I put them vertically. And as you have seen and will be able to see later down the line, I do turn on a mode in the UV editor that makes things look white if they're properly done or correct, blue and red when not. When the UV shell is being stretched in or outwards and it's just overall not working properly, that's gonna be the indication that we need to do something else there. For this section of the guard is just well, straightening, rotating, just managing my shells according to how I'm gonna need them to be. And this is mostly a feel or some rigor you can gain along the way to know how you need your UV shells to be. If you're gonna apply a pattern, like a tiling pattern, it's better to have your shells be all in the same direction, like properly aligned, like using my vertical rectangles for the intrusions that are like perfectly like a cylinder perfectly aligned vertically, you know. If that makes sense, I hope it did. And well, now as we move on with the handle, pretty simple, as I said earlier, symmetry, just project. And here, it is important to point out here, the red and blue I was talking to you about earlier, here it is. And in this case, you see where that blue region is mostly focused in. It's because we have a vertice there, like a lost vertice, like we have been dealing with from the very beginning of this project. There was a couple of them in that section that made the UV well, shine blue. Now you see, as we deleted them, they are fixed. They're fixed now. Now we moved on to the floater, to the handle floater. And here I'm not really sure of how really necessary this thing I did is. This thing that took a little while to process, which was straightening the cylinder of the handle. I figured since it had pretty little movement around just being a cylinder, I could do it like that. But as my classmates know, this whole thing about making UVs perfectly straight or not is quite controversial. But yeah, I did it just because I figured I could. I redid it later and not ended up having it like that. we're moving on with, symmetry, deleting the back half of everything that's perfectly symmetrical in the C-axis, the medallions. The symmetry of the motif, of the moon motif, was very helpful since it was very simple. I just needed to unfold them and the shell would have been perfectly fine. As you're gonna be able to see as well, the things that are not perfectly symmetrical, like those moon motif rings going around the pommel, the guard, and those two, I did not delete them. I kept them like that since they are not perfectly symmetrical, applying the philosophy. And there I'm trying to see just how my layout tool can help me in, having the shells properly distributed, how they're looking, how they're fitting the UV tile. There as well, I'm straightening or just rotating the shells according to how they physically are in the model. And now moving on with the scabbard. The scabbard I did, as you saw right there, I did delete the motifs, the back half, the medallion, everything that's symmetrical. Then again, and this is pretty simple in the sense that UV cuts need to be simple. I mean, it can be complicated at the beginning, I know that, I've been there, but UVing is not that bad. You just need to know how and where is most beneficial to cut. As you see there, I'm making some extra cuts to help me get cleaner shells, cleaner cuts, and just making sure everything is optimal, or making sure it fits with what I've learned to make UVs like. And just rotating. This is, by the way, quite slower than other videos since the full recording was less than an hour. This is I think at 500% speed, whereas the other videos were at 700. So you're gonna be able to see my work a little bit slower or more easily followable, I guess. But pretty much everything I'm doing here is making sure shells are properly aligned to be consistent in the rotation and how they're gonna be placed. There I'm fiddling with a very useful setting in the layout tool, which is padding. It helps you not have your UV shells too close to each other or too close to the edge of the tile. That's very helpful, and I'm gonna probably put it in the thumbnail, my UV snapshot. I'm gonna probably put it there, and making sure that I have the correct padding both from shells and from the tile, as I said, to make my shells not be too close to each other or to the border of the tile. It's very helpful to also, as I will do later down the line, as when I'm finished with the project as I post it to ArtStation, I will also add the texture maps cleaned out with the UV snapshot so that they can be easily readable. Here I'm just backtracking some of the symmetry because I realized I could most optimally use my UV tile size, the full square, if I don't use a a single UV side or a side of the model for the UVing. And let me explain myself. An optimal way to do this can be to just UV cut and lay out one half of the model. As I said, this model is pretty much entirely symmetrical, so you could do just a single side, layout, and texture it like that. That's just a single side, or just once your UVs are ready, mirror it, don't touch the UVs at all, and texture it, having both sides the same. That's one way to do it, but I realized since most of the UV set, as you probably were able to see, it was empty. If I did that, even including the scabbard in the same UV set, I realized I could get away with having it both sides, so that it, as I said, more properly fills the square, to make sure I'm making the most out of that UV tile, of that square texture. And this is where you can see I'm backtracking with the handle floater. I did straighten it again, and I'm gonna backtrack it pretty much immediately. not worth it was like a couple of minutes it took to straighten, because I realized, hell yeah, I had some missed double vertices, or n-gons, because of vertices that were lost somewhere in the shuffle. So yeah, I backtracked it, and there they are. A projection that's more akin to what you would see when you just unfold it. And we're nearing the end, lads. This is, as I said, quite shorter. The work itself was quite shorter. It was under an hour, whereas the last 2 modeling videos were like a couple of hours each. And yeah, this is pretty close to the end. We're gonna be doing the baking and texturing next episode. Pretty close to the end now. I think I'm gonna do it both in the same episode, or maybe one of each. Yeah, I think maybe one of each, because baking can be a whole thing. Texturing, it could be easier, since I've already have some of the smart materials from Willem's Quest that fit the style I wanna set this asset in to look like, from the Willem's Quest aesthetic, which I manufactured. All of the smart materials I'm gonna be likely using are smart materials I did during the production of Willem's Quest, and yeah, that's gonna probably make it a little easier. So yeah, next episode, baking, and the episode after that, texturing, and probably the final episode will be just rendering, setting a Marmoset scene, probably making some nicer render lighting in Arnold. I did say I was probably gonna use the same lighting setup I did in the first episode for the entire thing, but you know what? No, maybe not. And yeah, I run out of video to talk over. Enjoy the UV snapshots and some viewport snapshots of the model all caught in UVs and like that. See you, lads. Subscribe, follow me in TikTok, Instagram, Facebook for more uploads, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.